This conference will now be recorded.
Let me share my screen. Fine. So we have seen creation of invoice, right? Once the invoice is booked, that needs to be paid. So there are two ways which you can make payment in on Oracle. One is the individual invoice can be paid, or the group of invoices or the batch of invoices can be paid in one payment, one go. Okay, for all those payments, for all the whatever the invoices, let us say if you are making an individual invoice a payment, then the payment file will be generated. Let us say you are making an payment against an invoice for the BHL supplier, right? For the payment, obviously if it is the payment method is check, then the check is going to be generated, right? So if the case of batch payments, assume that if we are paying multiple invoices w- which belongs to various suppliers, in that case what happens is, depends upon your configuration, application is going to generate the checks or payment documents, whatever you call, depends upon your configuration, maybe one for each supplier or multiple payment documents for one each supplier, because it again, this configuration drives by the one of the configuration, this functionality, one payment document or multiple payment document, it drives by the configuration, how you set up in the application. Okay, basically why, uh, how the multiple invoices which belongs to, how the invoices which belongs to multiple suppliers get selected payment, that is what we call as batch payments. And the batch payments, how do you do? So let us say I want to make the payment which are due uh, for today, right? As an organization, I must have been dealing with various vendors, and there might be an multiple invoices exist from the each of this vendor. So in that case, we just to make the payment process simpler, we can use the batch payment, and batch payment also serves the same purpose. Okay, so but before, whether it is a invoice, single invoice payment or batch payment, there should be your a bank system exist in your application, right? So you are making payment out of, so, guys, just give me 1 minute. Fine. So so why bank setup is required in inside of Oracle, right? So the company might maintaining the company might be maintaining its financials, sorry, its banking with any of the available banking, right? Any of the available banks from the wherever it operates, right? So that while you are making the, while you have a bank account, how do you make the payment? Maybe by way of checks, or maybe by way of an EFT, right? Electronic payments, where the information will be communicated to the banker saying that this, based on the information, the banker is going to make the payments. Let us say if your salaries, how does a company runs the payroll, how does the company sends the information to the bank, right? It's a company might have hundreds of thousands of employees, but it cannot go and print a check for each employee, right? So in that case, if it is the case of check, but if it is the case of electronic, the online payments, how does a company makes the payments, right? So maybe the company will notify the banker in a predefined format which agreed with the banker, and the file will contain the who are the vendors which I need to pay, for what all invoices, what is the amount that needs to be paid. That information needs to be passed to the banker in a predefined format. Okay, so when I say format, see, there should be an each file that you send it to the banker, right? That file should be in some format so that the banker can read, right? So that format we call as payment document in Oracle. Okay, the format may be a check or an electronic payment. So in case of checks, so what happens, maybe a printed check might gives the banker, right? So let us say you have a saving account, you will be getting your checkbook, right? So that is one way of generating the check. The other way is, the instead of getting the check from the banker, you will inside of Oracle, you can develop the check layout, how a check looks like. Okay, even that is also in agreement with the banker who provides services. Okay, so the check layout you are going to develop in your Oracle, that is done by your technical consultant. Once the layout is available in the application, based on the uh, developed layout, we go and define the format which we call as payment format, that we are going to assign to the bank to create the payment document, whether it is a check or EFT. Okay, to reach out to that level. So so what are the topics we discussed? We should have an the bank, right, and the format. So how Oracle maintains the banking structure? Again, bank is also we call as one of the master data component. Okay, so maybe the banks which there are different types of banks we call. One is the internal bank, and another one is the external bank. Let us say you are working for one of the IT company TCS as an employee, and every month you are getting paid on the month end, right? So this payment is also happening. Assume that if it is an electronically bank transfer, then what information you should maintain in your application, right? So you should maintain, the company should available the information of its bank account, where the it operates its function financials, right? That we call as an internal bank, we can just to differentiate. Okay, so from this bank, from the internal bank, the payments are, the funds are getting maintained. But as an employee, at the end of the month, your account should get credited with your salary, right? How come the company knows the for the employee A, the bank account 123 is the employee's A's bank account. So in that case, you should also, as a company, you should also maintain your bank account details as well, right? So once you are onboarded onto the company, the primary task you will be doing, either you will be opening a new account where the banking representative exists in the onboarding time, or there will be a portal where you need to update your banking account with the company where you are working, so that the payment electronic payments can happen, right? So that we call as an external bank, which is the vendor bank. Okay, so these two banks, to maintain whether it is an internal or external, this bank configuration process itself a kind of layered kind of a configuration in Oracle. Okay, how Oracle maintains the banking data is, first it asks to create a bank account, and bank will have branch, and branch will have account. That is how it works, right? Fine. So so we were discussing on the bank account. So anyway, the bank structure, whatever Oracle maintaining, the banking structure also looks like in the same way. Whatever the bank you see, bank name exists, and a bank will operate with multiple branches which spreads across the globe, whatever in the region it operates, right? So in the each of the bank, so wherever the branch you go and take your account, right? That is where the banking information is splitted. So in Oracle also, with the same banking information will be maintained in the similar fashion. Okay. So to do that, first we need to create the bank. First we need to create the bank, then branch and bank account, right? So let us go back into the financials, cash management, right? Manage bank bank branches and bank accounts. So this is what three all you can see. Okay. So just go to the manage banks, right? This is a bank configurations. Let us say you are operating, let us say you are operating in one geographical area. The company is operating in one geographical one country, and maybe depends upon the banking data available, they go for the bank account, right? So you'll be creating the bank once, and that bank, let us say the bank operates in various geographical points. What do? You create a branch, right? With the different branch name it operates. That branch you will be creating, under which branch you will be adding your bank accounts. Let us say you have an ICICI bank SR Nagar branch, I have a bank account. If you are going to define, so let us say I am an employee of some customer which for which we are going to implement. So what I'll be doing, I'll create the bank branch, and then I'll create a bank account for myself, right? As an employee, which for you also you are maintaining same your account in the same branch, then the bank branches, since it is already defined, I go and create just the bank account out of in the same branch in the Oracle applications, right? So let us go and define any bank. Okay. So what information it asks? So the country where it operates, as well as the bank name. Okay, there are additional fields, but those are optional. Okay. Right. So here you will be defining your the original bank name, whatever the bank it operates with, right? So let us say, just for practice purpose, you can use your entity name, whatever your bank. Let us say I'm using my Apple bank. That way you can define, just to avoid the duplication. Okay. But let me try if I can try within real bank name. If it exists, then obviously I we need to come back and update something. Okay. Okay. So the bank is created now. Fine. So the bank also, where you can there are some other details which you can record at bank level. What is the bank address? When you say bank, maybe you can maintain your big maybe you can add the bank registered address or corporate address you can mention, as well as the if any of the contacts from the corporate office, that also can be added over here. Okay. Fine. We have added the Wells Fargo bank, right? So that bank is having operations in Dallas, whatever the state you can, whatever the location you can take, right? So what I am doing while creating, if once you go into the create bank branch, it is asking you to provide some details, right? One of them is the bank. You are going to create a branch, but for which bank? So I think Wells Fargo is ours bank. right? Branch name is the, right? So this routing number is basically, you will be getting these details from the banker while you are configuring the bank inside of Oracle. Okay, so whatever, just give some generic number, right? BIC code, the branch number type. So chip code, chips, there are various options. Bank branch type, various numbers you can use of it. Okay, just similarly again the address and contact details of the branch can be updated over here. This kind of an routing number is for to identify the bank. Okay, it seems Oracle is maintaining some routing number, unique routing numbers of banks, and that bank number should. Are you looking for routing number or an account number? So let me see if this allows. Yes, it worked. Anyway, you go and take the routing number of the bank, any of the bank, and then save and close. So we are done with the bank branch, and we need to create the bank account. Right, just click on this one and go to create option. So so which branch, under which branch you have the your bank account in which you want to create, right? Okay, Wells Fargo Dallas. Fine. This is the branch we just created, Wells Fargo Dallas, and you are create now. You are providing the application is asking you to provide the bank account related details. Okay, so account name. So each of the bank account will be represented with a name and number. Okay, so what is the name for this account? Wells Fargo Dallas checking account, or else you can, one bank can be, generally what happens, some bank, some customers they go with the, for check payments they'll be use one account, for EFTs they used one dedicated account, or they use one account for both. It depends upon the how they operate. That is not significant, but just giving an information, right? So give the bank account number and the currency, right? It is the the basically the currency is the local, where it operates, right? The bank where exists, in which country exists, the currency basically you'll be using, right? So what is the legal entity? Okay, so the bank works at the legal entity. See, the owner is the one of the company is going to maintain, we're going to open the account with the banker, right? So which legal entity is the owner of this bank account. That is what we are specifying over here by giving the legal entity name. Okay, so checking account or saving account depends upon this information, but it is not mandatory. And if you see, there are IBAN, there is other accounts which are actually required for making some kind of payments in depends upon the geography. Let us say it IBAN is required for US payment, European region to make the SEPA payments. So it's kind of an information where it's kind of an validation where Oracle does. Okay, so if the bank account is not specified with the IBAN number for European region, but you have generated a SEPA payments. So while making the payment itself, it gives you a message saying that this bank account doesn't have the bank account which belongs to the supplier doesn't have the IBAN. Right? Account use is the option where what are the areas you want to use this bank account for transaction booking. Right, for payables I want to make the payments, for payroll purpose also I want to use this account, and for receivables also. Okay, customer has to remit the receipts, right, remit the payments, right. So where does the customer can make the payments, can whether this account can be used for receivable purpose, whether this account can be shared with the customer so that they can deposit the money. Right, for that information where you specify account use is the option where you specify about your bank account whether it can be used for payables, receivables, or payroll. I'm going to use this single bank account for all purposes. Right, so there is another option. If you look over here, there is a cash and cash clearing and reconciliation difference. So these are the again default accounts where you set up at the bank level, and these will defaults on your payments process. While creating the invoice, we have seen some default accounts which got defaulted from the managed common options for payables and procurement, right. And there are also some other options on manage invoice options also. There are default code combinations. Similarly, for while making the payment process also generate the accounting. Right, this accounting will have the debit and credit lines. The credit lines or debit line are going to be derived whenever you make the payment by using this bank account. These are the cash and cash clearing and reconciliation difference accounts are going to be pulled by the application for generating your accounts and booking into your ledgers. Okay, and there are other options as well. So active multi-currency account, which means whether the bank account can be used, whether the bank apart from the USD dollar, while creating the currency, while creating the account, what we have given the currency field as USD, right. So USD, right. So whether the bank can be used for making payments only in USD currency, or it can also be used for making payments in apart from USD, it can also make payments in other currencies, right. Whether there will be possible scenarios where company deals with the vendors from outside of the country where it operates, right. So in that case, so the we have to make the payments in this vendor currency basically, right. So the company is operating US and it procured some material from an Indian supplier, right. Indian supplier will issue the invoice in INR, right. So the INR equivalent amounts has to be paid by the company which is operating from US. Okay, so to make the payments in INR currency, whether the bank should be allowed to make such payments or not. Okay, so in that case the multi-currency account should be enabled so that the payments in any currency will be allowed by using this bank account. Netting account is a different process. We'll discuss about the netting account. Okay, you can give the cash and cash clearing account over here. Just give the relevant code combination from this list of values. So generally what we will be doing is, in your implementation what happens is, the segment value whatever you see over here, right, just to differentiate the balances, what we will define in one cash account for each bank account. Let us say I am having bank accounts in various banks, maybe Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever the banks, right? So for in your implementations, in your real time, you will be defining a dedicated bank account for each bank. Okay, the bank account for Bank of America, the account for the Wells Fargo, that is how you will be defining your the natural account segments in your real time. Okay, but let us use, can you see, HSBC is the bank someone has defined, and for Indian operations, INR is the string, and HSBC US related account also there is a dedicated account that is being defined. That is for cash clearing, right? So obviously, let us see if the cash account is also defined for HSBC, just for your understanding. See, see if you can see HSBC bank account 2404 for USD operations where the bank exists in US, right? And for the same bank you have also have the cash clearing, because we have cash and cash clearing, those needs to be set up. Let us use this account for our account creation process. 2404 we have selected as cash account. This represents the cash at bank account basically. Okay, so similarly you need to give the cash clearing account as well. Why cash account and cash clearing? While in the payment option we have selected the radio button which serves the purpose of to generate the accounting twice, right? At the payment issue, payment clears. These are the two options. What are the options we had at the payment options? Payment at the account for at the payment issue, payment clear, or payment issue and clear. We had selected the payment issue and clear. At that time what happens is, first it goes into the clearing account, then the corresponding account will be knocked off with the respect to the cash account when you reconcile, right? For that facilitate the accounting at two times, the clearing account also needs to be specified, needs to be defined, and it needs to be selected on your banking setup. So let me search with the HSBC USD cash clearing account I'm going to take. All right, fine. So what we did is, we have at the GL accounts level we have given the cash and cash clearing. There are some other options which talks about the banking related information. Controls tab which talks about the uh, what are the controls that you can configure for your bank. Majority of these controls are going to be used for the your reconciliation purpose. We'll come back here and we'll see at the time of working on the reconciliations. Okay, security. So nothing over you need to specify, but business unit access. So this is the area where you need to provide access to the business unit. Why? Because this bank account is owned by this company, Apple Inc. But this, for this legal entity, what all the business units, those can be used for making payments by this specific bank account. Let us say the Apple Inc. may be operating with multiple business units. Let us take as an example of two business units, and it might have a single account which serves the payment process for two business units, or maybe it might have a different bank accounts from the same bank to serve the payments process for each of these business units, or it may have a different different bank account, different banks as well, even that is also possible, right? So that is just to facilitate that security process. Oracle has come up with a solution, come up with a requirement. You also need to provide the business unit access, so that the invoices which belongs to that business unit are going to be made payment by using this bank account. So just click on create button. My god, again this issue. Page goes for expand. Basically what we need to do is we need to provide the business unit details as well as the default bank and cash clearing accounts. Let me open this application in Microsoft Edge. That is some farm related issue actually. So here actually this farm got expanded. So the options which we supposed to be punching, our values are moved towards the corner. Okay, let me try it. So let me quickly go into financials, cash management, bank accounts. Not sure whether the bank account saved or not. Account name, number, bank branch. Wells Fargo, Dallas. No, the bank account not got saved. Let me try from over here again. Account name. So I'm going to use it for payables. Payroll. Anyway, payroll we are not going to use. Right. Let me directly go into the business unit access. We'll see. Oh, my God. This doesn't work. What I'll do, I'll will proceed further with the other configurations, and we'll come back to the business unit access point. So let's see. Cash management, bank account, account name, right? So not saved. Yes, it is not saved. Guys, the same issue. Let me proceed with the other configurations and I will come back over here. Right. If you look at the Excel, we should also we were doing this configuration, the account, but the payment document is also the part of, once the bank account is defined, then the payment document we will define. But so before the access, before we create that, let us go and see the format. What is the format? Okay, format, as I said, format is format tells you the what type of payment you are making, whether it's a check as an electronic payment, right? If it is a check, what is the check format? What is the check format? Which means the check layout basically, right? So if it is an electronic payments, what are the format, how, what is the structure? What, see, what Oracle has given out of the box, there are many payment formats, maybe check or the electronic. For all these different payment methods, Oracle has come up with the majority of the formats that generally bankers accepts. Okay, but on top of that format there might be here and there some changes. Okay, those changes generally our technical consultant will do, and once the technical consultant make the changes, then the format we will use and we will attach to the bank, and will see the we will test whether the expected output is fine or not in lower instance, and if it is fine, then we obviously the final goal is to move into that the same into the production, right? So that's about the format. Okay, so the format, where do you see the format and how it looks like? So we can see the output once the payment is generated. Okay, so let me check for the formats, right? Manage format. So manage formats is the task which you need to perform, right, against to which the payments. Okay, manage formats, click on manage formats. So here there are various, if you look over here, there is a search criteria to search for the existing bank formats, but we are going to create the format for what Oracle provides. The banking does various kinds of services, right? Each of the services, let us say whether maybe the you are maintaining with your we are maintaining a bank account as a corporate bank account, for which you are using as an payroll process, as well as your for vendor payments as well, right? So to make the payments you are using the electronic payments, or maybe you are using this check payments, right? So for for that purpose, you might the you might come up with an agreement with the banker, what is the format that the file should be sent, how the what is the format that checks should look like. Okay, the other services also, maybe you will be having a requirement to reconcile your bank payments as bank account statements as well, right? So in that case, what happens, for your savings account you will be getting the bank account for each month automatically on your email, but for reconciliation purpose for the companies corporates, there will be an dedicated again. Likewise for the payments, the bank statements also, there are predefined format that Oracle supports, which majority of the bankers accepts. Okay, that formats also as one of the services. And even there are other options that comes as part of a receivables also. But for each of these services to be make available, to be the whether the banker is going to make the payments based on the EFT, right? Maybe the banker allows you to check print your check zone, or maybe banker allows, maybe banker agreed to send you the bank statement. When I say you, it is a company, right? In a predefined format. For all these services, the banker is going to charge the customer. Again, it depends upon the financials, the terms, I mean, which is the service fee, right? So some clients go for the, for these formats, or some client, some customers, what they do, just use the standard one just to make out of the payment, and maybe they use the predefined the checks that Oracle gives. It depends, right? So if you see, there are various formats from the list of values. Okay, so which one we should select is funds disbursement and funds capture, two options you can see. When you say disbursement, you are, the fund is going out of your bank. Funds capture is the funds are getting deposited into bank, right? Funds deposited into the bank, it's is in the case of where your receivables, where you sell, where you sold your finished goods and the customer has to make the payment. For that, the process is the funds capture, where there are certain formats. But our objective is right now is to make the payments to the vendor, so it is a fund disbursement, right? So fund disbursement payment file formats, just click on that and create it. If you click on, if you select that one as the value from the select tab list of values, and click on view available format, it shows you the format. But our object, our job is to create a format, right? Let us go and create a format. Okay, so this is what I am doing is Wells Fargo check format, or Wells Fargo Texas. The bank account is in Texas, right? TX checks format, and the same name I'll copy as a code as well. Just it is for your for the application maintenance purpose. And if you see, there are message direction which is outbound, which means the file is going out from your Oracle. That is what it talks about outbound. When it is about the funds capture, it should be your inbound. Okay, these values are automatically populated, depends upon your configuration. If you look at, there is a value which is we call as template. What does this template is? As I said initially, Oracle has come up with various formats which majority bankers accepts, right? What are technical, what happens in real time is uh, depends upon the requirement. So the technical consultant, what they do is they take the whatever the nearest the format that looks to the looks like to the banker, and they start develop working on that one. Okay, which means the developer doesn't require to be develop the format, maybe the check or EFT from the scratch. Okay, already there are predefined format which you can, which a developer can use, and they can make the changes on top of that. Okay, so for check, what we will use is, there is an seeded format. All of these templates are linked with the formats. Okay, so what is that format we are going to use? We are going to use the standard one. So standard check you should see, right? This is the check format. Even for check also, there is various BI publisher templates, which we call as, these are the templates actually. Okay, so what technical consultant will do is, will technical consultant will go into the server area where this document, this BI publisher document template is stored. They download this format inside to their local machine, and they'll make some changes on top of it, and that updated format will be uploaded back into the application. The updated format will be renamed with the customer specific, and the renamed BI publisher template you should see over here. Okay, right now we are going to use the standard check. Okay, so what we are creating, we are creating a custom format by using the standard template. Okay, just save it and save and close. So our next job, we should create the bank account now. Should allow, otherwise else Fargo US one account. This is someone has created, but let us try to create one and we'll see whether if it works or not. Dallas DX Wells Fargo check account number random app link. I'm going to use it for payroll, right? It will not allow, right? Let's see. Instead of giving the cash account over here, we'll give there. This is what the problem. But generally what happens, how this form looks like is, there is some issue with the application actually. So once the bank account is created, then we need to create the payment document. So by using the format that just we created, this format we have created, right? Payment document needs to be created on bank account level, where you specify what are the numbers. Let us say we have created a format for check, right? The payment document talks about the check numbers, what should be my initial check number and what should be the last check number that I can generate out of this payment document. Once that is done, we can create the payment process profile. To create the payment process profile, the bank account should exist in the application. But again, let me do one thing. Let me try this last option. If not, we'll see in tomorrow's session. I'm sorry. Okay, let me see on that one. I'll show how to do that. So let's see, there is some issue with the application, so the palm is getting extended and just keep on loading to the various. I don't know why it is coming, but let me check on that one. So I'll come back on that one. So we'll see in tomorrow session, we'll see the further way of how you create a bank account as well as the payment process profile, and we'll see how you generate the payment. Okay, any questions?